Oh, Steve Arts 9. Well, I finally watched Wolverine and Deadpool. Sorry, Deadpool and Wolverine. It was really good. I mean, that's no news. We all know it's great. It's huge. It's the biggest R-rated film ever. It had three huge weekends. It's done really well. But it really was good. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I was laughing a lot, and because it was really late, I was watching it around 2 a.m. in the morning. I had to really sort of stop myself from laughing too loud because I'd probably wake my neighbour up because you can hear right from my kitchen wall, basically. It was just so clever, but we sort of know that from Deadpool, but I sort of had forgotten how funny the character is, and they had so much more to work with this film. They brought in so many cameos and so many things from this sort of weird universe that he ends up in, the idea of he's trying to save his universe, and we get to just pull out all these characters and all these actors and just have fun with them because we're in a different universe, so we don't have to worry about ruining anything from the other universe. So that's something Star Trek could have learnt by just admitting that it's a different universe and having fun with it rather than trying to tell people, this is the other universe, this is the canon universe, and it all makes sense, even though it doesn't. So they didn't have any of those issues with this. They just went to town, had a lot of fun with it. We got to see characters like, spoiler, like anyone hasn't already seen the film, Wesley Snipes is back as Blade, Elektra's back. We get to see Channing Tatum as, oh God, what was the name of the character? It was a character he wanted to play for years. I've forgotten his name. But he gets to play him, and he may get his own film, but probably not. But either way, he did get to play him on screen. He did a good job. And it's not that complicated a story, really. Basically, Deadpool is trying to bring, at the start of the film, trying to bring back Wolverine because he's basically been pulled out of his life and told, look, you're a bit of a loser. We know you want to be an Avenger, but you've been rejected. But look, we see that the universe, the prime universe, whatever you want to call it, the main universe, they had a name for it in the film, I can't remember now, is falling apart because one of these main sort of people that was important in this universe sacrificed himself and is dying, and that was Wolverine. We need you to basically bring him back and save our universe. You're going to sacrifice your universe, but you're going to save our universe. And Deadpool says, F this, I'm going to find another way to do it. And he basically uses their technology to go back and pop through different universes and to find a Wolverine that can help him defeat, to solve the problem. And that's a big part of the film, just finding him and then dealing with him, and then they end up being thrown into this random sort of zone that they dump all the people they want to get rid of or hide, or it's kind of interesting. They show the 20th Century Fox logo, which really made me sad. I still have trouble processing the idea that 20th Century Fox is actually gone. I grew up watching 20th Century Fox movies, and I love the studio, and it's actually gone now. But this is sort of a way of bringing these 20th Century Fox characters into the Marvel universe, and it's all very complicated and interesting, but it's fun if you just let it go and just enjoy it. It was really good. It was nice to see a lot of the actors come back. And it's weird to see Captain America again as Johnny from Fantastic Four and stuff like that. And the joke at the end of that, when he mouthed off and Deadpool just repeated what he said and got him killed, and then they blamed him, but actually it shows at the end some alarm security footage to show that the main villain did actually see this, so he didn't actually sell him out. So there's little parts like that are interesting. There's just so much to talk about. I can't, I'm already at 4 minutes and I've barely gotten past the basic premise. But he escapes this phantom zone. I can't remember what they were calling it. But only because the main villain wants to actually use the time technology that they have at the TVC or whatever it's called, to basically destroy all the timelines, so the only thing left in the universe is the one that she has sort of found a home in. So she was dumped there like all the others, and she sort of decided better to rule in hell than serve in hell, and she'd rather hell be the only place left, so that she gets to basically be, the rule of the universe by destroying everything else. So it's an interesting little plot, and the weirdest thing for me is that, because I was disappointed initially by Madonna's Like a Prayer, how it was used in the film. I thought it was going to be really significant. It's in a very important scene. It's the scene where Wolverine puts his mask on and fights. but there didn't really seem to be any connection to the song and the scene. It just seemed to be the song they picked, and I'm like, okay. But then they actually used it a second time because there is a scene where, spoilers, the two main leads basically sacrifice themselves. Deadpool, Wolverine's going to sacrifice himself because he did that before. But then Deadpool's like, no, I need to matter. I need to do this. So I need to sacrifice myself. So he locks him out of this chamber, very much Wrath of Khan, and there is actually a Spock Wrath of Khan reference and everything, which is cool. Might use that as the thumbnail. But Wolverine, but he's not able to do it on his own. He's not able to make a circuit out of himself and the antimatter and matter to destroy the power source that the villain's trying to use to destroy all the universes. So Wolverine breaks in, and between the two of them, literally holding antimatter and matter and holding hands, they basically, while listening to Madonna, they manage to destroy the device and save all the universes. And they do use a different version of Like a Prayer because they are both sacrificing for the people in their lives. And it is a nice, beautiful moment. And they play the choir version, which I thought they just pulled that out for the fun of it. I didn't realise there were actually two versions and two scenes that Like a Prayer was in, but they sort of didn't want to spoil the actual end. So they just sort of let out the battle scene part, so I didn't realise it was in there twice. So I was like, oh wow, it does mean something. There is an emotional resonance. It does matter. And just the comment that, naturally, okay, you thought one of us would die trying to do this, but two of us together holding hands, listening to Madonna, unbreakable, undefeatable, I don't know. But yeah, they won. So that's just the film. And it was great. I loved it. I laughed a lot. I was surprised I forgot how funny Deadpool was. And the ending was nice that he did save his family. They did sort of fix everything. They did get credit for what they did, and they got some favours and some help. And at the end, Wolverine goes to walk away, and Deadpool's like, no, come back, be part of this family. And it's a nice fantasy, like the idea of the found family. I haven't found one myself. As a gay man, I'm all alone. But apparently this happens to other people who don't have actual families. They find a found family, and that's what we find in this film. And Wolverine gets to be part of it. And it's nice. The idea that he was able to get past this whole chip on his shoulder and having to be alone, because that's what killed his family in a sense. That's a whole other thing. I'm up to 7.5 minutes, but they invited him to be part of the X-Men. He resisted. He didn't help them. They all died. He blamed himself, and that's why he's wearing the uniform, because that was the uniform they wanted to wear and he wouldn't wear. So that's why he wears it. Just everything is explained and done well. And I don't know what Robert Meyer Burnett was going on about. He was saying that this film is empty and blah blah blah. I think he just is. This is just positioning. Some people do this where they just like, okay, well, this film's going to be big, so I'm going to be the one person to criticize it, so I get the views that I wouldn't have got if I was just praising it along with everyone else and just disappearing into like all the voices praising it. I'm going to be the one person saying it's empty and not worth it, and I should have liked it but I didn't, and all that stuff. It's great. There's nothing to criticize it for, nothing to judge it for. The only thing I would have done is probably had a couple more cameos. They could have squeezed a couple more people in. Like Halle Berry apparently wasn't asked, and there are a few they could have had in that they probably should have, and whether they didn't ask or they couldn't afford them or they just wanted to keep it to just a few, I'm not really sure. But it's 8.5 minutes now. I need to stop talking. I'm just supposed to be doing 5-minute little reviews. But if you really enjoy a film, it's hard to make it short. And I do enjoy these films, and I love films, and I like talking about films. That's why I make these videos. Not because I think a lot of people are going to watch them, but I just enjoy talking about them. It's nice to have a few people watch and have a bit of input. But after this, I'm going to watch Borderlands, because I feel like they're the two counter, like the worst one film ever apparently, and one of the best sort of superhero films ever. I just want to watch them both in the same night and do a comparison. So I'm going to move on to that next. And yeah, I'm going to go. I enjoyed the film. I'm glad I finally got to see it. Everything about it was good. It wasn't one of those films where you get so excited you get disappointed. It met my expectations, and for a few moments here and there, was better than I thought. And I just really enjoyed it. I'm glad I watched it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. I can't imagine anyone hasn't yet. Feels like a bit of a redundant review because everyone else has reviewed it and we all know it's great. But it was just good to talk about. I'm glad that Like a Prayer did have some emotional significance. It did mean something. It wasn't just a cool song to play when they're having a big fight scene, although that fight scene didn't make any sense to me. They're killing all the Deadpools. I'm like, but they're just going to regenerate. And they do. They just get up. And I'm like, why did you think that would be any different? And they use Fred, or whatever his name is, the other guy. Oh, not Fred. this other guy who's their friend in all these universes. They all get distracted by him, and then they don't have to defeat them all anyway. So I'm like, what was that? Okay, it was cool to see. I'm like, okay. But yeah, they had to get onto the actual villain and all that. So I don't know why that was. I guess she dragged them all out to sort of stop him. It didn't work. I guess that's the point. But I didn't defeat them. They just distracted them. But it works just the same. But it's over 10 minutes. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Normally I say if you haven't seen the film, watch it, because I'm usually doing a retro review and not everyone's seen some of the films I'm looking at. But obviously everyone's seen this. But see it again. I don't know. See it for me in the cinema, since I can't see it in the cinema.